So in problem number 2, we're expected to solve this equation here. The first thing that I notice is that it's a radical equals a linear term. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get rid of this square root. I'm going to place both sides in parentheses and square it. And what that's going to do is that's going to ultimately cause this radical in this exponent right here that I just added to cross out. So it's going to leave me with 100 minus x squared equals 2 plus x. And then the 2 plus x still has its square. Now, if I take a look at how to actually deal with this 2 plus x squared, I can't just distribute the square inside the parentheses because there's this plus right here, which means that really it's 2 plus x times 2 plus x. And using an area model here, I can see that what I'm going to actually have here, make my square a little bit bigger here because I can't fit all of it in. When I divide this up, I'm going to see that this is actually going to give me 2 times 2 right here, which is 4. This is going to be 2x, 2x, and then x squared. So this entire parenthesis over here is actually going to turn into x squared plus 4x plus 4. And it is still equal to the 100 minus x squared that we had on the left. So now that I see that this is the equation that I need to solve, I can say, okay, well, let me add x squared to both sides. And when I do that, I will end up dropping down the 100. And then I'm going to get a 2x squared plus 4x plus 4. Well, I still don't have a side equal to 0 yet, so now I'm going to subtract a 100 from here and a 100 from this side to balance it out. And now that means that I'm going to end up getting over here a 0 equals 2x squared plus 4x. And then doing the 4 minus 100 right here is going to give me a negative 96. Now, at this point, because I don't want to have to factor all of this out, I can just say, okay, I know that I can use negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And when I look down at this equation, I can see that a is equal to 2, b is equal to 4, c is equal to negative 96. So when I take all of this and plug it into the quadratic formula, I will be able to immediately say that my answer is going to be x equals. So putting all of that into my calculator very quickly, I get that x is equal to 6, and I also get that x is equal to negative 8. Now, one thing that I have to be careful of here is there's a chance that this might have caused a bit of a problem, because if I plug these back in, there's no guarantee that these will actually work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look over here and say, okay, well, if I were to plug in 6 right here, 100 minus 36 makes sense because that's not going to cause a negative number to pop up inside this original square root. If I plug in negative 8, I'm going to get 100 minus 64, which is also going to be okay because I don't get a negative number. But the issue is that when I look at this side over here, if I plug in this negative 8, I'm going to get 100 minus 64 inside of a square root. But that would be equal to 2 minus 8. Well, this right here in red would end up being a negative number. 2 minus 8 is negative 6. There is no way that a square root can give me a negative number. So this negative 8 right here is actually not a valid answer. So I'm going to have to say this right here, he has to get crossed out because he's not a valid answer. So that means that x equals 6 is the only valid answer that we're left with. So I'm going to highlight just the x equals 6 as my final answer.